One, a work of art, forged in fire and folded 1,000 times, a symbol of honor, the very soul of a warrior. The other, a tool of the shadows, a straight black blade of pure utility, designed for silence, infiltration, and the deadly arts of espionage. The samurai's katana versus the ninja's ninjatō. It is one of the most iconic matchups in all of warrior history. A clash of light and shadow, honor and stealth, art and utility. But what if I told you that this legendary duel is based on a lie? That one of these swords might not have even existed? In our previous video, we broke down the true relationship between the samurai and the ninja, revealing they weren't mortal enemies, but different cogs in the same feudal machine. If you missed that, the link is right here in the description. Go watch it and come back. Today, we're taking the next logical step. We're moving past the warrior to analyze their most famous tools. We're going to put these legendary blades under a historical microscope to uncover the truth. We'll look at how they were made, how they were used, and finally, answer that age-old question and finally settle the debate. In a real fight, who would actually win? This is steel-forged shadow. And this is the truth behind the blades. To understand this comparison, we have to treat these weapons not as equals, but as unique solutions to two very different problems. And we have to start with the most famous sword in the world, the katana. The katana is so much more than a weapon. To the samurai, it was a sacred object, an extension of their being. Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary swordsman, called it the soul of the samurai. This wasn't just poetry. A samurai's sword was a symbol of his social status, his honor, and his authority. Losing it, or having it taken, was the ultimate disgrace. And this reverence is directly reflected in how it was made. A true katana is not just manufactured. It is born from a near-mythical process of fire, water, and prayer. It all starts with a special type of Japanese steel called tamahagane, or jewel steel. This steel is smelted in a massive clay furnace called a tatara over 3 days and 3 nights, using tons of iron sand and charcoal. The result is a bloom of steel with inconsistent carbon content. Some parts are hard, some are soft. And here is where the genius begins. A master smith would shatter this bloom and meticulously select different pieces. The hard, high-carbon steel, called hagane, would become the blade's cutting edge. The softer, low-carbon, more flexible steel, the shingane, would form the blade's core and spine. The smith would then take the hard steel for the edge and repeatedly heat it, hammer it flat, and fold it back on itself. This folding process could be done anywhere from 8 to 16 times. And no, it's not folded thousands of times. That's a myth. 16 folds creates over 65,000 layers. This process does 2 critical things. It removes impurities from the steel, and it creates a uniform, incredibly strong structure. Once the edge steel is prepared, it's forge welded around the soft inner core. This creates a blade that is the best of both worlds. It has a razor-sharp, incredibly hard edge capable of holding its sharpness, but a soft, shock-absorbing spine that prevents the sword from shattering on impact. But the real magic happens during the final stage: differential hardening. The smith coats the blade in a secret mixture of clay, charcoal powder, and other ingredients. The clay is applied very thinly along the cutting edge and thickly along the spine. The blade is then heated to a precise temperature and plunged into water. Because the thin clay on the edge allows it to cool rapidly, the steel there forms a very hard crystal structure called martensite. The thick clay on the spine insulates it, making it cool slower, forming a softer, more flexible pearlite structure. This rapid, uneven cooling is what creates the katana's iconic elegant curve, or sori. It literally bends itself into shape during the quench. It also creates that beautiful wavy line along the blade, the hamon, which is the visible transition between the hard edge and the soft spine. Think about that. The katana's most beautiful features, its curve and its temper line, are not just for looks. They are the physical evidence of a brilliant metallurgical process designed to create the perfect cutting weapon. Its design is a direct reflection of samurai combat. The curve made it ideal for drawing and slashing in a single, fluid motion, especially from horseback. Its length provided reach on the battlefield. It was a weapon designed for the open field, for the duel, for a warrior class whose entire purpose was overt, honorable combat. It was a specialized tool for a specific context, and that context was the polar opposite of the ninja. Okay, let's address the sword in the room. The straight-bladed, square-guarded, black-as-night Ninjatō. This is the sword you see in every movie, every video game. And it is, almost entirely, a modern invention. I'm sorry to break it to you. There is virtually zero historical evidence that a standardized ninja sword like this ever existed in feudal Japan. The term Ninjatō itself only really appeared in the 20th century. So what did the historical ninja, the Shinobi, actually carry? The answer is far more practical and far more interesting. A ninja's job was not to engage in honorable duels on the battlefield. Their job was espionage, sabotage, infiltration. Their primary goal was to get in, complete the mission, and get out without being seen. Combat was a last resort, a sign of a failed mission. Therefore, their equipment reflected this philosophy of pragmatism. A shinobi would use whatever was necessary for the mission. Sometimes, that meant carrying no sword at all. Other times, they might use a standard katana, stolen or acquired, so that if they were caught, they could pass themselves off as a ronin or a samurai. Often, they would favor a shorter, more practical blade, like a wakizashi, because it was easier to maneuver in the tight corridors of a castle. The blades they used were often of lower quality than a samurai's. Why? Because they were tools, not status symbols. A ninja wouldn't risk carrying a priceless, master-forged blade on a dangerous mission where it could be lost or damaged. Their sword needed to be functional, disposable, and nondescript. But the real genius of the ninja's blade wasn't the blade at all. It was everything else. This is where the myth of the Ninjatō gets a few things right, but for the wrong reasons. Let's look at the guard, or tsuba. While samurai tsuba were often round and ornate works of art, a ninja might use a larger, square tsuba. Why? Not for looks, but for utility. A shinobi could lean the sword against a wall, use the square guard as a step to boost himself up, and then pull the sword up after him. It's a multi-tool. Now, let's talk about the scabbard, or saya. This is where the ninja's ingenuity truly shines. The scabbard of a ninja's sword was often longer than the blade itself. This created a secret compartment at the bottom. What did they hide in there? Anything they needed. Important documents, blinding powders like metsubushi, poison darts, or even small explosives. The scabbard wasn't just for holding the sword. It was a covert carrying case. The tip of the scabbard was sometimes removable, allowing it to be used as a snorkel to hide underwater in a moat, or as a listening device pressed against a wall. Do you see the difference in philosophy? The samurai's sword is an object of perfection, a specialized instrument for the art of killing. The ninja's sword is a practical toolkit where the blade itself is almost the least important part. It's a pry bar, a stepladder, a container, a breathing tube, and yes, if all else failed, a weapon. So, we come back to the original question. In a fight, Katana versus Ninjatō, who wins? Now that we understand their true nature, we can finally give a real answer. And to do that, we have to define the fight. Scenario 1. An open field. A duel of honor at high noon. Two warriors face each other. The samurai draws his katana. Its length gives him superior reach. Its perfectly forged, curved edge is designed for maximum cutting power in a single slash. The ninja, with his shorter utilitarian blade, is at a massive disadvantage. In this context, the katana was born for, the samurai wins 9 times out of 10. But now, let's change the context. Scenario 2. A moonless night. The mission: assassinate a corrupt lord in his castle. The samurai is on patrol in the hallways. He's limited by his blade's length, scraping it against walls, unable to make full, powerful swings. The ninja, meanwhile, has already used his sword's guard to scale the outer wall. He used the secret compartment in his scabbard to carry a smoke bomb, which he now uses to create a diversion. He moves through the shadows, his shorter blade perfect for the lethal close-quarters combat of tight corridors. He strikes from behind. The mission is a success. So who is the true winner? The answer is neither, and both. The katana versus Ninjatō debate was never a fair fight because they were never meant to be in the same fight. The real winner was the warrior who understood their mission and brought the right tool. The katana is, without a doubt, one of the finest cutting swords ever created, a true testament to the artistry and dedication of the samurai class. But the ninja's so-called sword is a testament to something else: the power of ingenuity, pragmatism, and the will to survive and succeed by any means necessary. The legend of these blades isn't about which one is stronger. It's about the two completely different philosophies that created them. One forged in honor, the other forged in shadow. Now that you know the truth about their blades, it puts their relationship in a whole new light. Let me know in the comments, what other historical weapons or warrior myths do you want to see us break down next? Shuriken? The samurai's bow? If you enjoyed this deep dive into warrior history, press the like button and subscribe to Steel Forged Shadow for more content that cuts through the myths. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.